Good evening, everybody. I'm calling our meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Aaron, would you please take the roll?
Councilmember Gray.
Here.
Councilmember Dietrich.
Here.
Councilmember Pointer.
Here.
Councilmember Sherburne.
Here.
Councilmember Schmidt.
Here. All right, everybody's here. Are there any changes to the agenda for tonight? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any further discussion? Linda?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
And Mary Ann?
Yes.
Next, we have our public input period. Please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record before proceeding with any comments. Individual remarks are limited to 5 minutes, with the overall public input period limited to 30 minutes. Under Iowa Open Meetings Law, the City Council can take no formal action on comments given during the public input period which do not relate to action items on the agenda. Is there anybody who would like to speak to the council tonight?
Kurt Minor, 702 East Howard Street. I would like to address item 6.7 related to the airport on tonight's agenda. I've been to most of the recent council meetings and a couple recent airport committee meetings, and something about the whole FAA funding situation smells funny to me. I believe the airport manager is the person responsible for reporting the actual number of aircraft based at the airport. The FAA rules state that based aircraft have to meet 4 criteria: have an agreement with the airport for storage, spend greater than 6 months of each year at the airport, be operational, capable of takeoff and landing, and 4, have a valid current FAA airworthiness certificate. No other aircraft are considered based at the airport if they don't meet these 4 items. You can't count aircraft that are nearby or across the road or in Delaware County or disassembled and waiting for repairs. According to FAA, at a minimum, the list of aircraft should be updated and confirmed by December 1st of each year. FAA uses this information in its biannual report to the United States Congress. FAA must be able to show that the information submitted to Congress is accurate. The information must be updated via a website called basedaircraft.com by the airport manager. This website requires a username and a password to access it. So, who is the airport manager? Who has been the airport manager for the last 2 to 4 years? And who has been entering the information? City website says that Tim Bick is the airport manager. He is the responsible party. At the council meetings and airport committee meetings I've attended, there's been a lot of excuses tossed into the discussions, like, well, I don't know much about aircraft, or I don't have time to update that list every week or month. And then the former airport manager's name, Taylor Matson, gets mentioned. Taylor Matson hasn't worked for the city for 7 or 8 years now. The FAA wants the updated information every year, and Congress wants the information every other year. So this has nothing to do with Taylor Matson, and all of these excuses sound very shady. I have a copy of an email from the FAA from 2023 stating that you reported 6 verified planes at the airport. 2 years before that, you reported 10. Anything fewer than 10 relegates you to unclassified. I question whether the 10 reported in 2021 were legitimate. I also question whether your comments that, well, as long as we're working on getting more, or as long as we're close to 10, or we've got guys that are interested in having planes here, but we need hangars. I don't know if those excuses really matter. The email I have says anything fewer than 10 and mentions a 10 aircraft threshold. Otherwise, you're likely to lose most, if not all, of your FAA funding. So I'm challenging the city manager to step up tonight and publicly state whether this 95.5 FAA funding was received legitimately according to all of the FAA requirements, or if it was received fraudulently with fudged numbers before the council votes on 6.7. If he can't or won't do that, we'll all assume this grant was obtained fraudulently and that you've been trying to fool everyone here and the whole town all this time. And if that is the case, all 5 council members should vote no on 6.7. If everything's good, it costs the taxpayers about $25,000. If it's not, it could cost all of us over $500,000. And a lot of things could get worse for a couple of people. This is the federal government and the United States Congress you're dealing with.
Thank you, Kurt. Anybody else would like to approach the council tonight? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to close the public comment and we will move on to the consent agenda. All right. First item, we need a motion to approve the minutes from the November 10th regular council meeting. I need a motion to adopt resolution 102 approving the bills and the expense report. A motion to acknowledge the receipt of the following city reports and minutes. That would be from the library board, Parks and Rec, and the airport committee. I need a motion to approve a liquor license application, and that was for the American Legion Post 45
And Owens.
and Oni's Wooden Wood. Yeah, I was getting there. Sorry. No, you're okay. Next, I need a motion to approve the approval of the fire department's elected officers for 2026. I need a motion to adopt resolution 103 approving the annual financial report for the fiscal year ending June 30th of 2025. I need a motion to adopt resolution 104, and that's the city clerk's completed the annual urban renewal report that also ended fiscal year June 30th of 2025. I need a motion to adopt resolution 104. That's the same one, is it not?
Resolution 105.
105. Okay, I'm down to the next one. Resolution 105, approving the fiscal year 2025 street finance report. Need a motion to adopt resolution 106, and that will approve the obligation of funds from the Urban Renewal Tax Revenue Fund for the payment of property tax rebates pursuant to the corresponding development agreements with the city council. Motion to adopt resolution 107, and that establishes the policy governing video recordings for the city council, board of commissions, and committee meetings. I need a motion to adopt resolution 108, and that's approving the preliminary and final plats for the Southwest Industrial Park 6th subdivision. And with that, I will take a motion in a second, and then we'll open it up for discussion.
I move for approval of the consent agenda.
I'll second
All right, is there any questions or comments?
There were several annual reports on the consent agenda that the state requires us to submit. You've seen these over the years. If you do have any questions, but some of them got attached a little bit later. So if you have any questions on the information, please feel free to reach out to me.
I just wanted to point a clarification on the second. Is this the one? Sorry about that. Approving the video recording. And these are just video recorded, correct? And then people, if they want to see them, or how will that be done?
We would put them up on YouTube like we do with council meetings.
Okay,
So we'll probably have separate, we have to figure that out yet with YouTube, but we'll probably have separate folders maybe set up for airport or Jocelyn P&Z. We haven't gone through all that.
Yeah, no, we haven't identified how we set that up, kind of like different channels,
okay.
because otherwise, you know, you're in the queue of which ones, and so you'll have a bunch of meetings in between, so if you're just
Oh, gotcha.
city council meetings, you may see
Board of
P&Z board
Adjustment.
adjustment, and some of the other ones, in that ranking, so I gotta figure out that channel stuff.
Okay, all right, that makes sense.
I also think it makes sense to start first of the year as opposed to trying to start
It's
this
gonna
month
take us some
or
time.
next
to-
month, you know.
Yeah, we've got to get the.
We have to get the owls, excuse me, repurchased and stuff like that, so I don't know if you need a start date on this, that you want that as a part of it, or just that when we get ready, we will do it, is that good enough? Okay.
I think so. That's kind of the goal, I think, is to get there by the first of the year, but we do need to figure out the microphone thing and then figure out a little bit with our Zoom and with the
Okay.
YouTube
Sure, okay.
piece of it, but those shouldn't be too,
I just didn't want anybody to think we were gonna start this week,
yeah.
because I just don't think we're ready.
Yeah, one of the things we do is we load the meetings to the cloud. And then I download them at PC to upload them to YouTube, so we do have a physical, digital copy on a computer. I don't download it to this computer, because this computer is only used for the meetings, it's not necessarily docked in a workstation. That could be something we could do, I guess, is have a laptop dock in order to use that and upload things that way. It's just how much capacity we have for storage.
Okay, thank you.
Only question I had was on 3.5. Did I see Randy come in? Hey, Randy, can I ask you a question, please?
Yes.
The fire officers that, are gonna be for 2026, do we have any changes?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say, because I'm not noticing any new names, so that was the only question I had.
Not really in state, yeah.
And I'm working out when we'll swear you all in, so we'll get that figured out. Okay, any other questions? With that, Mary Ann,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Brian?
Yeah.
And Linda?
Yes.
Okay, next, we have a public hearing. It's 5:12, and I'll open the public hearing on the rezoning request for 709 South Fifth Street. And Bruce Sands would like us to rezone that from a commercial to a residential, is that correct?
That's correct. Mr. Sands is here tonight. So he's acquired the property. He would like to turn it into his house, kind of a place where he needs more garage space. He wants to live there. It is currently zoned commercial, so he can't live there. But apparently sometime through the years, someone has converted some of the office area into living space. So that's where we came, once it was identified as an issue, we worked with Mr. Sands, let him know that was a problem. He did request to have that rezoned to residential. There is R80 adjacent to it, so it would not be spot zoning. The only comments we heard from Matrix Enterprises is they wanted to verify if that would have any impact on their industrial building adjacent to them. And the only comment I had was, if they do an addition in the future, they may be required going to screen that addition because of our screening requirements between industrial and residential. So whether it's a fence that's opaque or trees or something along those lines, but it would not be required until they do some sort of change or modification to the existing building.
Did you have anything else you wanted to add to Mr. Sands? You can come up here and speak if you'd like.
So
Hi.
I purchased property on auction
Mhm.
and I have been farming, but my lease was terminated. So I have to sell my equipment, but I have some cars and tools and stuff that I don't want to get rid of.
Mhm.
And it came up and I thought it was a perfect fit. And I need a place to live,
Mhm.
so. And it's exactly what I need, you know, so. It's a little noisy in the week, you know, which is normal, but on the weekend, it's like living out in the country, you know,
Mhm.
and I really like to move in.
And Mr. Sands, you are aware.
I'm not gonna open
Residential.
business or anything.
Right,
I'm just gonna keep my own stuff in there.
right, right.
And, I plan on going back to work, but not there, you know, that's just gonna be my space. And, it's really nice. I gave more than I wanted to, which is normal, you know, it's really nice. I'm cleaning it up and it's gonna be my
And I think P and Z,
Hopefully last home.
and P and Z, I know explained the different things for you as far as, exteriors and
Yeah.
stuff. If,
Yeah, so if he does reside that, it has to be residential siting,
Yeah,
not commercial industrial.
yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay, all right, thank you so much. Thank you. And then we had talked, I know that came up during the P and Z meeting, talked about potentially if they wanted to move on to the next
Yeah.
consideration, yeah.
Yeah, so if the council wants to go ahead and waive the first and second reading and move on to the third and final reading consideration, so that speeds the process up by about a month. We can do that tonight if you so desire, but that, understand it makes you have to take a vote every time, so.
Right. Yeah, yeah, so anyway,
And there's property right north of him and to the south of him that's also residential.
Not to the south, just to the north.
I thought there was one
across the
else.
street.
It's around Sickles Hole Place.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought that one right to the south was.
No, south is though coming into, whatever they're calling.
Driveway.
The driveway going back to.
I don't know
just
what-
Bengo.
But just past,
Door to
isn't there a
community services.
single family home
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, there's one by community services.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that little pretty one.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Again, this is a public hearing, so does anybody else have anything they'd like to say? We can have a seat. Thank you, Mr. Singh. Okay, hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing at 5:16, and how would the council like to proceed?
Well, I'd like to move for the first reading.
Would you like to waive the first reading?
Oh, waive the first reading
Proceed on to the.
and
second?
proceed on to the second. Okay, that's what I'd like to do. Yes, let's let the poor man get in his house as soon as he can.
But I will second that, exactly what she said.
I'll walk you through this.
Okay, we get confused.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? Mary Ann,
Yes,
Bill,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes,
Linda,
Yes.
and, Brian.
Yes.
Okay, so do you
can
need,
I
Okay,
make
yeah.
a motion to
Waive the
waive the
second.
second and go to
Proceed
the
on to
third?
Yes.
I'll second.
okay. I'm just gonna go right into it. Joe,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Mary Ann?
Yes.
And Linda?
Yes.
All
All
right.
right, now we can have a motion to approve the third and final consideration.
I move for approval of the third.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay. Anything else? All right, Mary Ann,
Yes,
Linda?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And Joe?
Yes.
congratulations, you have a new house.
Fantastic.
And the population goes up by love.
And I didn't have to do it.
All right, thank you. All right, next, Maggie Berger's in the house tonight. Welcome.
Thank you very much, everyone. I'm Maggie Berger with Fair Financial. It is that time of the year to talk about TIP. As you saw on your consent agenda, you are filling out all the reports for what happened in 25. Now we're looking to what's going to be happening in 27. These reports are also due to the county by December 1st. So I've passed out your copies. These are very colorful sheets. Our first section here, kind of our red or pink colored section, this outlines all the general obligation debt that the city has outstanding. This does go on for a couple, 3 pages, and as you can see, the city did borrow money in 25, both in a taxable and a tax exempt format. That was done in March of 2025. Those interest rates are higher than the majority of interest rates on your debt outstanding, and that's just because we're in a little bit higher interest rate market right now. There are call dates in those bonds when we get down to fiscal year 2032. So when we get to June of 2032, if interest rates are lower, at that time we could refinance. If interest rates are higher or about the same, you just go ahead and continue to pay on your debt. That's also a time that you could pay the debt off early or pay down on that debt as well. You do utilize on page 3 and 4 there of that section, you do utilize TIP receipts as well as some franchise, water, sewer, road use, things like that to help buy down that debt service levy. So all that geo debt can be levied in the debt service. We've identified usually with your administration upfront when you sell the bonds, how much of that debt you're really going to levy for and how much is going to be paid with other sources of revenue. And that's really just due to, we lump a lot of projects into one borrowing. So we try to identify what was the source you intended through capital improvement planning to use. So we've got a line drawn there, on that last page there to fiscal year 27. That is the amount that you will need to levy. We have been talking about what upcoming projects the city has. So we'll be doing probably some updating as you go over the next 2 to 3 months and you get into that budget process.
Okay.
The next pages are our orange page, and this one is just one page, very short amount of debt that still remains in the revenue section. So we've got 2008 sewer revenue bonds. We also have the 2019 water revenue bonds. Those are all going to expire here between 28 and 29. And the biggest takeaway from this page is on the far right column. You cannot levy property taxes for this debt. This has to be paid with the revenues of the system per the bond resolution that you signed. So you must keep your rates in a format that can not only pay operations, but also make these debt payments. We go on to the purple pages, and these are your development agreements. So as part of that consent agenda, you are appropriating to pay these development agreements. And for fiscal year 27, these agreements you've entered into with a developer, whether that's specific to housing or commercial or industrial, you are telling that developer, you will build something that will add to our tax base. We will rebate you back a portion of that new tax dollars for a set number of years or up to a set dollar amount. So again, your city does a great job of tracking those. We really feel rebates are the safest way for you to give some incentive sometimes to developers, because again, they have to perform and build something before you have to perform and rebate those taxes back to them. So happy to see those there. We go into our yellow section, and this outlines, going back to that first section of red, any GO debt that is going to be paid partially or wholly with TIF. And so we're identifying again those sections of those first debt service schedules to say part of the 2017, part of the 2018, so on and so forth. These are the sections that will be paid with TIF revenues. That's important because again, every year you're certifying to the county to say, these are the portions of those debts that we need to collect TIF revenues for. Likely they were related to street improvement projects that were in your TIF areas. That's typically what you're utilizing TIF receipts for with regards to that. We also have a forgivable loan that we've got for just a couple more years through 27. And then we bring in that purple, and those numbers correlate with that purple section of your report of how many dollars you're estimating that you may pay in rebate agreements in that same fiscal year. Mm-hmm. So we've drawn an arrow there, and as you can see, that number is very close, almost exactly the same as it was last year in 26. And so that's good to see. We always want to make sure that, you know, you're kind of keeping your TIF askings, you're keeping your property tax askings all about the same each and every year. We go on to our green section and we talk about your general obligation debt capacity. So I'm going to have you look at column number 2 and read straight down with me. For fiscal year 26, the city's actual property valuation in the city here of Manchester was $515,956,000. That gives you debt limitation of $25,797,000. The city only has GO debt outstanding in a principal amount of $6,525,000. You've got about $369,000 worth of rebates that you will also pay this year that we must count against your debt capacity. And you will pay back principal of $1,160,000 this year. That leaves you remaining debt capacity that's not obligated of about $20,432,000 or about 79.2%. So just close to 80%. That just really means you have a very low amount of debt borrowed currently against your capacity. We're not telling you to run out and borrow a whole bunch of money, because the whole point of that is you have to be comfortable with how you're going to pay for that debt, right? So those are the decisions that you talk about when you're doing your capital improvement planning. We tell most cities they do not want to issue more than 80% ever of their total debt capacity, sort of leaving that 20% as, we'll call it a buffer, as an emergency type fund. If we remove that 20%, that leaves you with about $15,273,000 of remaining capacity. I think I brought this up last year as you move forward with some additional revenue-based projects, water revenue and sewer revenue in the future. Just remember, it has been the intent of this group in the past to issue that as revenue debt. Revenue debt does not count against your debt capacity, since you cannot pay for it with property taxes if we deem that it is revenue debt. So that 15 million that we're sort of talking about with capacity, that would not come into play if you issued revenue debt for, say, a water or a sewer project going forward. Okay. And then our very last section, again, is our TIF report section. This is the blue section. We look at column number 2 and we read straight down there. This is fiscal year 26, and this indicates how much growth you've had in your overall TIF districts since the inception of those TIF districts. We've seen $74 million in commercial growth since the inception of that area, about $15.8 million of industrial growth, just a little growth in personal property ag that fluctuates each and every year with land prices and what is in ag property in the city limits and what is not. And then we've got about $127 million of residential growth in your TIF areas. So altogether, after the rollback, that equates to about $142 million worth of growth. It's pretty substantial against that $515 million total valuation. You've seen a lot of growth through the years, which is great. That generates at the TIF tax rate about $4,452,000. You are using just over, between $600,000 and $700,000 of those dollars from the TIF receipts to not only pay your GO debt service that is being paid with TIF, those rebate agreements, and that one interfund loan. So we've got that. You have unclaimed TIF dollars of about 3.7. That seems to be about the number that you always have an unclaimed, not money you should go grab. You grab that, you're gonna severely hurt your budget, the budget of the school, the budget of the county. But it just shows that you are not utilizing all of the TIF dollars that have been generated through the year, and you're letting that valuation roll back into everybody's budget so that they're seeing bumps from time to time. It's a whole lot of information. I would answer any questions that you have on that. Things look very good and healthy. The valuation increase a couple of years ago really did lead to a pretty substantial increase in your debt capacity. So although we, also our property valuations go up, most cities experience an increase in their allowable debt capacity, which is always helpful.
$1 million question always seems to be in this community. What is our overall debt for Manchester?
Your overall debt would be the $6.5 million of general obligation debt that we've got on the third page of the red section. So $6,525,000. And then the orange section, $1,764,000 is the total principal of revenue debt outstanding. So
Thank you.
yeah.
And that was for our plant, the sewer plant, correct?
And a water.
Sewer and a water loan.
Yeah.
And the water loan, I want to point out, was done in 2019. We had a conversation about that at that time. We kept that water loan short. You could have issued that debt for 20 years. And the city chose, knowing that there could be potential water projects in the future. They kept that debt very short, and it actually pays off here in 28, did I say?
Yeah.
28, yeah.
That was for the water main extension.
I remember that.
13.
I remember that.
If it comes down to Maggie, 10, 12, 15 years down the road, DNR says we have to update our sewer plant.
Mhm.
Of course, we would come to you guys, 25 million, 26 million. Don't shake your head, say that.
We can't control the DNR, can we?
No, I think our plant's in pretty good shape so far, but it's always something you worry about long-term down the road.
Again, DNR regulations change we'll see what happens with nitrogen and phosphorus. We'll have ammonia. I think we've got our ammonia taken care of, but there's still some changes. We're going through the permitting, NPDES permitting now with that. We'll have our new permit here in years here. We'll see what changes they have, but a lot of the cities that are seeing requirements to update their facilities, like Monticello, that was a $28 million upgrade. And that's where we talk about then doing these as SRF loans, revenue bonds. And so your water and sewer rates go up to pay those back. But you can go 20, 30 years out with those. That's the challenge at that time. You know, how do you juggle that and what's the cost? Because at some point, your users can't afford to pay that either. So there are some grants that you can get, but it's a juggling act.
Your current sewer debt, just so that you're aware, does pay off in 2029. So, you know, always, when you're using the SRF and when we're talking about that, we are typically telling you, especially on sewer projects, try to keep the financing to 20 years or less, because it seems like it's about every 20 to 22
Right.
years that they're coming back to you. And so we want that debt to be paid off before you might have to take on new debt. There's always grant opportunities. The SRF has a grant opportunity. There's potential for CDBG if you meet all of their requirements. And then we would come in and work with you and figure out what is the best rate structure. But we also are ones that when that debt pays off, if there's not another project coming on right away, please keep those rates in the structure that they are and start putting money away towards those projects. It is my job to help you issue debt, but I would like to see you use cash for part of that project if you can. And so if you're anticipating projects coming up, also, we always talk about, you know, looking ahead at rates and what structure they should be raised. And we know that that affects your citizens, but setting aside some money ahead can really help reduce that overall cost and burden at the time, because you are required to enter into any kind of loan that we do on a revenue basis to have the rate set in accordance to paying that new debt service. So it's not like we can just ease our way into them at that point in time. When the project comes, we've got to set the rates in an amount enough to pay that debt service and maintain your operations.
Okay, any further questions for Maggie tonight?
Okay, I'm gonna stick around for the next agenda item in case you have questions.
Thank you, Maggie. Okay. Next, I need a motion to adopt resolution 109, and that'll set December 8th as the date and time for a public hearing on a proposal to enter into a water revenue planning and design loan through the state revolving for SRF program for the water system booster pumps project. You want to speak more to this, Tim?
Yeah, so what we're asking for is $100,000 planning and design loan through the SRF as we work on that booster pump project. What we're looking to do is put the entire town onto one pressure system, on the high pressure system. So as we go through the design work to update what pumps we need where to keep that pressure there, this is interest-free money that we can use up front. We'll have 3 years then to get the project up and going.
And that financing then would roll over into the financing for the project. So once we move to, you know, whatever we determine to go ahead with as far as the project, that financing would roll in with that.
So this is a motion just to set the public hearing at this point.
I will make a motion to set the public hearing.
Okay? Any other questions or comments? Bill?
Yes.
Brian?
Yeah.
Linda? Yes. Mary Ann?
Yes.
And Joe?
Yes. Thanks, Maggie.
Thank you, Maggie. Bye. Okay, next I need a motion to approve. As part of the Iowa Finance Authority State Revolving Fund Program, the city is required to retain the services of bond counsel to coordinate the legal proceedings necessary. Dorsey Whitney have provided an engagement letter for these services. You want to speak to this, Tim?
Yeah, again, we're just hiring Dorsey Whitney to handle the proper bonding requirements, more for us to meet the terms of the loan. So they will work with us as we go through the planning design phase, and then we'll go out to bond sales.
I'll entertain a motion if nobody has any questions.
Go ahead, Joe.
I'll make a motion to approve item 6.3.
Okay. Any other questions? Joe?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Mary Ann?
Yes.
And Bill?
Yes.
Okay. Next, I need a motion to adopt resolution 110, that's approve us entering into the Delaware County Municipal Mutual Aid 28E agreement that I believe, yeah. Yeah, do you want to talk more about that? Or do you have any other things to share about that for us tonight?
No, I've kind of already, I've already talked to you guys about that,
Mutual aid.
the mutual aid. The reality is we're probably gonna get called anyway, for the areas that we're gonna automatically cover. We're fortunate enough where we don't need it. We have people that work in town and are able to show up on a call. Ryan, Masonville, Dundee, not so much. So if they get a call, we're probably gonna get called anyway, so it just speeds up that process.
I think it shows too that we want to be good neighbors,
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah,
which is important.
absolutely.
I thought we had one years ago, didn't we?
I don't know if we necessarily had one, it was more of a kind of maybe a handshake agreement. This is just more, maybe more formalizing it.
Okay. Any further questions for Randa? No? Okay, thanks, Randy. All right, and with
I
that,
vote for approval of resolution 110.
I'll second it. Okay. One last time for questions or discussion. Mary Ann?
Yes.
Linda? Yes. Brian?
Yeah.
Bill?
Yes.
And Joe?
Yes.
All right, next, 6.5. I'm gonna be losing Mr. Peters, unfortunately, and so.
If we refuse this, does he have to stay?
It's just because you see the price what my replacement's gonna be.
No, because we're gonna miss you. You've done a great job for us, so thank
Isn't
you.
there fine print in here says that you gotta pick up the difference?
I have.
Anyway, I believe we had a recommendation to go with, Lynch Dallas.
Yeah.
And you want to speak to that?
Yeah, if I could. So we've a lot of experience working with Bunch Dallas in the past on a number of items. Amy Reesner and Holly Corkery have been excellent to work with. One of the ways we can do some saving of cost is because we're using Zoom, we can let them zoom in or link in that way so they don't have to commute up here. So that way we're not paying for that hour drive time here and hour back. And then just have them here when we need something going on. Otherwise, they can listen in that way, or we can get a report from them. I would recommend maybe once a month they attend a meeting. So figure out whether you want the first meeting or the second meeting of the month, and then that way they can be here to do the updates.
That's a good idea. Zoom.
And, just for myself personally, Lynch Dallas, if I remember correctly, that's the union attorney we use,
Yeah,
right?
we used Amy Reesner to do the union negotiations after Bill Supel retired.
I just,
Yeah.
you talk to all these different people, I can't keep everybody apart.
Yeah, no, Holly Corker helped us update our employee handbook.
Yep.
So.
They do it in other towns.
They do, it's a larger firm, they have quite a few attorneys that work on different towns.
In fact, I doubt there are many county seats right now that they don't represent in Eastern Iowa.
That's kind of what it looks like on here.
You know,
Okay.
Mayor, I would like to make a motion that we go with Lynch Dallas Legal Services for our replacement of Jim Peters. And a big round of applause to Jim Peters for his years of service to us.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Did you have anything you'd like to say?
No,
Okay.
I think it's been great coming here at 30, however many years. And you're in good shape, everything's been working well, and we've got good counsel coming to replace me. So,
what year did you start working for the city?
sometime in 92, maybe 3.
Okay.
I was 3 years old.
Yeah, so thanks for that.
Enjoy retirement.
Well, retirement from this, like I say, my goal is to get to about a 45-hour week at the office.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I did a
You,
first.
and yep, so ready, Bill,
Yes.
Linda.
Yes.
Brian.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
And Mary Ann.
Yes.
Okay, next. Our comprehensive plan process update.
Yep, so we had a planning and commission meeting, Julie Cruzy was here, talk about what they're doing. We are ready to kick off the comprehensive plan and get feedback from the public. So we do have a website that has been created and dedicated, so people can log into that website and update and find updates. Answer the survey questions, because there is a survey there that allows us to find out what the people are thinking, what they'd like to see, where they think we have concerns, what they like about the community, what they think might need to change. So I'm asking everybody to go onto that website. It's live now on our webpage. It's been posted on Facebook as well. We'll have the QR code posted to the front door starting tomorrow. And then what we're doing is a pop-up event with the window walk on December 4th. In this chambers here, we'll have members from Snyder and Associates come in, have some refreshments. People can come in, talk to them about what's going on, and we can log them in, and they can go online and start their survey response.
It doesn't take very long to take the survey. I did mine today, so it's quite easy, and they ask some nice questions, and they leave you a place to comment and so forth, so.
And so the last one we did with the comprehensive plan in 2010, there's been a lot of changes since then. And so this is really for next 10 to 15 years is what we're looking at.
Will you need us here on December 4th or not? Because I will be working.
Need is a relative term. You are more than welcome to join us. But I'll be here, some of the staff members and the planning and zoning commission members, along with Snyder Associates here in the office. So you're not required to need to be here, but you are more than welcome to join us.
Okay. Any other questions? So check out the website, everybody, and fill out the questionnaire. Next, I need a motion to adopt resolution 96, and that's to approve the contract and performance bond submitted by River City Paving for the airport runway rehabilitation project.
This is Mayor, if I may.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. In the public comment, Mr. Minor challenged me to report that everything is legal and above board. And I'm willing to say that. There's nothing we've done here that has falsified anything. We will challenge any argument on that. The FAA has approved us as a NIPIS airport. We are agreed, and the FAA has provided us with a contract to go through and resurface our runway. It is at a 95.5 match. So we are under contract with the FAA. They understand rural airports may occasionally drop below 10. While 10 is a benchmark they use, it is not a hard benchmark. Doesn't mean that 1 year that we drop below 10 planes, based aircraft, that they kick us out of the program. And in the email that Mr. Minor reported to, as if we were notified that we were going to become unclassified, the only thing we could use those funds for then would be to resurface the runway, which is exactly what we're doing right now. So regardless of whether or not there's an argument on whether there were based aircraft, the number of based aircraft, we are still part of the NIPIS system. The FAA has extended a grant agreement with us. They understand our planes are below 10. They have been for the last few years. They have not sat there and sent us notification saying that they were yanking our classification or challenging us. And if they had sent us email, they would still tell us that this would be an eligible project for those expenditures. So at this point, we are fine. The FAA is not changing things.
And this basically is just a performance bond contract with River City Paving.
We have approved agreement with the FAA on our contract for this project.
And we've accepted.
We have awarded the bid to FAA, or excuse me, to River City Paving. All we're doing now is completing the process. That's awarding the contract and accepting the bid bond.
It's actually just approving the contract we've already awarded.
Yeah, we've already awarded it. We awarded
So
it
we're
back in July.
approving it.
Yep.
Okay, I make a motion to adopt resolution 96, approving the performance bond, with River City Paving.
I'll second it.
Any other comments or questions?
I just want to make a comment, as far as the fact that I made comments related to I did not know who I could trust. I just want to bring it out to the public that I had people come from both sides. One side was saying this was okay. The other side was saying that there's a lot of shady business. And, I did what I thought was in my best interest and dug as far as I could to protect my well-being and my family well-being. I feel like I've crossed every T and dotted every I there is defined, and I am 100% confident that everything that has been brought up is factual, and I think that us as a council need to move forward with this airport runway.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay,
Jim, before, I just wanted to ask you a question.
Sure.
If I were to vote yes on this, and there was something found out down the road as far as falsification of document to get us to a NIPIAS, would that somehow corral
Need liability
the
for you?
liability for myself?
No, unless you're in on the fraud.
Less I'm.
If you were a party to it or
Yeah,
aware of
sure.
it, that's a different story, but
Yeah.
short of that, no.
Okay.
Just like, if Maggie Berger makes a mistake on the bonding that we do and you approve it, she might be liable for the mistake, but you can only rely on the material that's provided. We have records of your meetings. We can see what you've relied your vote on. Glad Maggie's gone, so she didn't hear that.
any other questions or comments?
Well, I guess before we go into the vote, I guess my concern is I still feel like I still have my reservations. I don't want to miss out on the opportunity of utilizing this money. I think it's a good, as far as the money part of it, I think it's good. With that being said, I'm still on the fence as far as whether the original NIPIAS was filed correctly.
Well, regardless of the original NIPIAS, I sent and provided the council with that information.
I guess that's what I was worried
You've been
about.
provided
The
information.
original NIPIAS, does that hamper any of us down the road?
Well, we had FAA here telling you were good here about a month, 6 months, 9 months ago. I don't know how you could do much more due diligence to find out if you're legitimately in, and FAA is saying here it is. And I believe at that discussion, you talked about whether or not you had 10 planes at each of these times.
Yes, we did.
So I think, I don't know how you could have better documentation as to how you complied to be NIPIAS, at a NIPIAS approval at this point, because he came here and their representative said you are.
We received that notification back in 2014 to 15. Okay, that was a previous council. I understand your concern, Mr. Gray, about whether or not this could come back on you liably, but in 2014, we were awarded and notified, and we have continued to participate. The FAA has continued to talk to us. I have continued to work with Kirkham Michael, which is a licensed certified engineering firm that the FAA still allows us to work with. There is no question on that. There are challenges for a lot of rural airports, and they understand that. But as we talked about Tuesday night last week, the reason the FAA really wants us to have an airport here is for the same reason we had it Tuesday night. We got low cloud cover, low ceiling. We had a plane that was potentially going to Minneapolis. They had to divert and land here and stay here because they could not fly visually. So they were here for a couple of days because it was grounded. We're the only airport in Delaware County. That is part of the reason why they looked at us and said, yes, we're welcoming you into this program.
And if I understand, we've already accepted the grant. And have we dispersed any monies?
We have received funds already from the engineering costs we've already expended for resurfacing the runway.
So not doing this, we would be liable for that money then too.
Potentially would have to pay that back,
And that's around 60,000,
67,000.
67,000.
And the council did approve that grant agreement. I think
Exactly.
it was in July.
Exactly.
You find the exact date if you'd like to know.
The biggest thing on this one here, Brian, just from what I dug up, and I will verify that what Tim has said is 100% accurate. If we drop below 10 and we lose that NIPIAS and we're unclassified, we still get runways every time.
And that's.
They'll still give us the 95.5 match on the runway. So this project right here, even if we've been lied to this entire time and we're then somebody's gonna be in trouble. We only have the information that
Well,
was
and
provided.
that's kind of where I'm kind of up in limbo here is, I agree with you on as far as the runway going forward right now. The Niveus, I think the numbers were pushed to get Niveus. I really, from what I've seen, I think they were exaggerated to get Niveus. Because obviously FAA is gonna say, yeah, take our money, because we're hooking you for 20 years, but, I think, because when I did my, yeah, we're still in that 10 points out there.
No,
So really, realistically, until we get a 10 or above, we could lose our qualifications at any time.
that's correct. At any time, they could.
That's what worries me, is all of a sudden, we get into this and then they come back.
But it's not retroactive.
Yeah, it's not.
Right. We got it now.
Yeah, so as long as we're eligible, that's what we're using. I mean, they will tell us, you are losing your classification, we're gonna put you as unclassified and give us that date. Until then, and even then, the stuff we had in the past is approved.
The other thing is too, that I'll just add into any of the other council members that might be a little bit more nervous. I also called my own legal team on this. And what Jim said is it's exactly the same advice I got from my legal team. Is that if we voted yes on this, we're not going anywhere. Because we took what our advisor was. And it's not, I mean, we don't know what we don't know, so to say. But I dug a long time in this. This was like my main concern for quite some time, even when I was at work. I'd sell a camper, I'd get off doing that, and then I'd get on the computer rather than chasing my next camper deal. I was trying to figure this airport thing out. Cause like I said, I didn't know who I could trust, cause I don't know. I ran for city council and I have no friends whatsoever walking in and sitting in this chair first night. I didn't know anybody. I didn't even know you or Linda before I ran. I knew Connie, but that's different. But so just trying to figure out who, when they tell you something isn't talking out both sides of their mouth is what I've been trying to do. And I'm confident in this one right here, but do what you want to do.
Are you ready to go, Brian? Is it okay to call the question?
Because as far as the money we've already allocated, or that's already been.
Correct.
All right. Bill,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yes.
Linda, no, Brian.
Well, come on, bunch of.
I can't tell you.
Abstain.
Why?
I want to. That's my right?
I don't know if you can abstain without a reason.
Hmm?
I don't honestly,
Yeah.
honestly, after all these years,
Yeah.
I stumped you?
you stumped me on the
I
last
stumped
night,
you.
yeah.
Okay.
Brian,
Thank you.
let me challenge you on this.
He'd say it too.
Just one councilman to another councilman. We have a very, very tough subject
Don't want to.
is on right now to be voted on. And I feel like as a citizen of Manchester, as a person that did vote you into office, I would think the citizens would look at how you handle this. And whether, like, if you're gonna abstain from it, my personal opinion is like, we took this job to stand tall and take these tough ones. So like, I would encourage you not to abstain, even if you can legally do it.
I don't think you have a legal obligation to be detailed, abstain because you choose not to vote on it, you have to say why. I think on the record that you know that. Otherwise, they don't know whether you abstained or just ignored it. But that's no more detail than that.
Well, I'm trying to weigh it out, I have our situation here where you've given me the packet, I've looked through it, I've done my own, inspection out there, we're under the 10 planes, blah, blah, blah. And then we have two whistleblowers come forward with information showing that we shouldn't have been in Nipias Airport, and now, there's where we're at. And the scales for me are like.
What did they show you that FAA wasn't aware of when he came to talk to us and we discussed these things with him? Because we told him about the deficiencies in the
The
airport.
deficiencies and
When he was
the
here.
numbers.
Yeah.
But I
But
don't,
he was also on the committee when we were applying for that. He was part of the process.
The people that are complaining.
Yes.
The
I'm
two,
talking about FAA.
yeah, but the two people that were complaining, the numbers that are complaining on the tail numbers of the aircraft are the numbers that either he provided to the manager at that time, and now he's saying those weren't there, or he's telling us they were never there, and the manager somehow just put tail numbers down
The manager at that time.
at the manager at that time, when we became NWSB. But it's all related to that former committee member. So was he willing at that time and not willing now, or what's,
well, that's his option as a whistleblower. He can change his tune.
yeah, and I get it.
I guess, I wanna move this along. I'm gonna say.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Right. Next, we have, motion to adopt ordinance. Oops, excuse me,
Just an update,
Okay.
because this was tabled to be placed on this agenda, we wanted to wait until after planning zoning had their meeting.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Planning zoning met last week. They wanted to table this item so they could get a chance to talk to the people in the public about what their thoughts and feelings are on whether or not, moving forward with, steel siding for residential uses.
And they were gonna research the different kinds,
Yes.
the improvements in
The
steel
improvement,
siding.
because they, again, was residential, commercial grade. So they wanted to make sure they had an opportunity to go out and talk to who they represent as well.
So, with that being said, can we just take the siding portion out of it and okay, the sidewall and square footage? I know there's some guys that are trying to get some buildings and stuff set up, and this has nothing to do, they're not, the siding aspect of it, they're not even, it's not gonna affect them anyway. So that's why I was hoping a couple weeks ago, we could just hold this one, but piece of it back and send the rest through, because the rest is what needs to be done. This siding aspect of it, I don't know if anybody's ever sided in the winter time, but I don't think there's a whole lot of people jumping on a bandwagon to do that. 'Cause it's,
I did ask about that, and because it was intertwined with
you
the
know,
ordinance, we'll have to draft a new ordinance. Weed it out. So it's up to the council. I can draft a new ordinance, take out the siding, and just go on the size of the buildings, for the different size lots, and bring it back to you with that. That's what planning zoning was fine with that. Again, we just leave the siding portion off, and bring it back to you with just the size.
But then we'd have to go back through and do another ordinance with siding, correct?
Yeah, I would change the ordinance and the draft of ordinance 8 to remove the siding requirements and then just go to the size, and then we would have to come back after planning zoning had a chance to meet and adopt whatever they do with that.
Not to cause trouble, did P and Z approve everything else?
Because it was all one
That's
language.
what I mean, do we really have an approval of P and Z?
No.
So really,
Because we talked about it, there wasn't any, the only thing that was a hang up was the siding. So everything else was already pre-approved by by P and Z with the original ordinance.
Yeah.
So
there was no other change.
no other changes other than just bringing the siding off there. So P and Z's already drafted, or looked at the ordinance that approved or recommend approval. So if we just take off the siding portion, they've approved everything else.
Okay, I just, that's not, they've approved it.
Yeah, they approved everything else, other than, again, council's asked us to look back at that siding, so should be able to do that.
So,
I will take it back to P and Z.
okay,
And we'll do
The
the ordinance.
question,
you need,
But we'll bring a different ordinance to the
Well,
next meeting,
yes.
excluding the siding, and let P and Z do the research on the siding portion.
got it, okay, thank you.
so do I have to make a motion to,
No, guys,
no motion, but we'll just handle it.
okay,
All right. And finally, I don't even want
No,
to.
we're 6.9.
You gotta get rid of
6.9, okay, we gotta get rid of my
animals.
animals first, yes, thank you for finalizing this before we get to it. We've, motion to proceed with the first consideration adoption of ordinance 10. And that is, a draft on the exotic pets ordinance.
I want you to know, the final action I take as city attorney, when it's about birds. All the things you guys have done.
This isn't your last meeting, is it?
No, he's got two more.
Well, do you have anything?
One
Draft.
more.
We'll come up with-
I read something about jaguars in here though. You know, come on, it's not about birds.
We just added that.
By the way, the 4-inch thing is an arbitrary. I just didn't want to be spending all the regulations that you'll see other cities and things do, they use weight of the bird.
Hmm.
And I'm sure not gonna want an officer weighing a bird.
Come on, Ben.
So that's why we went to that.
That's why we call it the scales of justice.
But anyway, that's.
All right, Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to proceed with the first consideration and adoption of ordinance 10.
Okay, I'll second that. All right. Any further comments or questions?
If we get clawed, is that what this comp or?
Okay, Bill,
Yes.
Linda.
Yes.
Brian.
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Mary Ann.
Yes.
Okay. Now we're at the last one here, and, I don't want to really do this one, but,
Then we don't have to, Mayor, we can skip it.
Table it.
Yeah, let's take it.
so Tim, we are sad to see you go, but we are so happy for your opportunity awaiting you. You have the hardest job in all of Manchester. You have a lot of people you have to try to coordinate and corral and make happy and fix. People want to fix, and I know you like to fix too. So, just, want to tell you how much we appreciate everything you've done for our community.
Appreciate that. It's been very rewarding working with everyone here. We have accomplished a ton of things in the last 20 years. There's been a lot of stuff that, just would not have happened if it hadn't been for the dedication of the staff, of the council, and the volunteers. We didn't do this alone. And that's why it's hard to move on, but, an opportunity was presented to me that allowed me to, stretch my professional wings a little bit and take one more step and see if I can handle that. So I know Melissa and I are very excited about the new opportunity, but also, you know, it took a lot of thought for us to take this change and challenge on. So I appreciate the support, and my last day will be January 9th. My first day in the new community will be January 12th. So there's no rest for the wicked. So keep moving forward.
A little closer to family.
It's 20 minutes from Melissa's folks and her sister, so that will help them out tremendously. Adele is the county seat. And again, Dallas County, it used to be a rural county, but Dallas County is the fastest growing county in Iowa. It has Waukee and West Des Moines in it. Adele is growing rapidly. They are population about 6,700, projected to go to 10,000 in the next 10 years. So, when we did the interview, they have 1,000 acres of land ready to be voluntarily annexed into the city.
Wow.
So a lot of development going on, a lot of expansions.
Well, I need a motion to accept his letter of resignation.
Don't do
I feel if he didn't like it in 2 to 4 weeks.
I will cry, but I will do it.
it. It's been great, Tim. You know, I've got a relationship with you that I feel like not everybody in this community has had the opportunity to get, and, you've been a mentor to me the whole time, Tim. I've learned so much from you. Yeah, I don't know. I think we should not let you go, but, yeah, you may be the most hated guy in town, but by golly, I tell you what, it doesn't change the fact that when I ask you a question, you shoot it to me straight and then, you know, make my own decision from it, and I appreciate that, and yeah, it's gonna be.
To break somebody new in. I know. Aaron, we can do it to break somebody new.
We break somebody.
So I'm to accept the resignation.
Okay,
Is there two?
I just have a motion.
You can second.
I'll second it. I don't want to see him leave either. I can always vote no.
Exactly. All right, Mary Ann,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes, with sad heart.
Brian,
Yeah.
Linda? Yes. And Joe?
You will help us try to figure out how we.
We're
Yeah,
gonna
and that's one of the things, we'll talk about here shortly.
I'm still gonna call you multiple times a week, but
My number's not changing.
I'll let you go to wherever you think you're gonna go, but
okay.
you know that phone don't stop ringing.
I see you sitting right up front. Ryan, we'll let you go first.
Okay, got a few things tonight. Ryan Wixon, Fairgram. Last week we did have the Anderson Street property owner meeting, so we had a good turnout. The people on both phases showed up, so good discussions. Shared the preliminary assessment schedule. Discussed some of the challenges. We do have some probably higher percentage elderly on that stretch, so definitely access was an issue, but the city staff and the project team and contractors will do their best to make sure people have access throughout the project there, so. There's some utility work still going on there. MediaCom has to get their wires off the poles, and Windstream, we're still pushing. After that stuff gets moved, we'll do some survey work and try to incorporate that into the bid plan that'll be coming out just before Christmas. Planning to sit down just over a week on the 10th with city staff, do a page on those plans, make sure they're ready to go out to bid at that time. Bid date will be latter part of January, and then with award first meeting in February. So it's a project we expect will start pretty much April and take most of the construction season. Kind of break it up in 2 phases, trying to help access throughout that, even though it's not a real long project. Not 2 full phases, but get all the underground done on the south half before we tear up the north half. So
Makes sense.
Another project that's nearing wrapped up is our downtown stormwater study, so we have final, so the city staff will be reviewing that with them on December 10th too, so that will come formally to the council. It's gonna tie more to the downtown improvements that'll be coming in after the second phase of Anderson Street, so some long-term planning on that stuff. Lucas on our staff, Lucas Elsman did complete the MPDS permit for the wastewater plant, so that's got submitted this afternoon. That will be a permit there renewed every 5 years. As of right now, there's no significant changes, but nutrient loading is something that's ahead of most communities, so
Yeah.
we'll keep an eye on that. And then we will be submitting the water study, looking at the booster pumps as part of the IUP application. That'll probably go in tomorrow. The deadline for the application is December 1st. That's Monday there. So that's some of the stuff Maggie was talking about and that funding for the design phase. So we'll proceed right into design. And that's going to impact sites at north end of town by the water tower and on William Street.
Great. Yeah. Great. Any questions for Ryan?
I was at that meeting for Henderson Street, and I thought you guys handled it really well, the conversation, answering their questions and so on. I thought it was really good, man.
We have a lot of engaged property owners, which makes the discussion a lot easier.
Yeah, but well done.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan.
Okay. Jason?
Just two short things this evening. We just received this afternoon comments on the check plans from the DOT regarding the Grand Avenue Trail Extension project. We're getting those addressed, final plans back to them so they can finish their prior to bidding process for timelines and everything on that particular project. And then we've obviously partnering with Kirk and Michael on the Marion Street Bridge project, and we've completed the field work for the topographic survey information for getting that drafted. Send that to them so they've got that available for them as they continue now to proceed into their design phase of that particular project.
Okay.
So that's what I have this evening, unless there's any other questions.
Okay, thanks, Jason. All right. Jim? you have anything else to-
RJ and I were talking this morning, we're filing motions to withdraw in all the cities where we have pending cases. So we'll be providing you a list next meeting, so new council can see exactly what's pending, what's not. Try to have a summary of where we're at. Don't think we have a lot. Most of them, I think, we wrapped up before the end of the
We
year.
have a couple nuisance ones that we gotta figure out.
Right. But there's a couple of them I think we'll have wrapped up beforehand, so, some of these sit out there a while. For one of our towns, there's been an estate pending for 6 years waiting to give us money. And I have an appearance in the estate just so they can't close it without telling us. So we just gotta remind somebody to look at it. There's a lot of little things like that that we'll have a list for you.
So
That's all
that,
I have.
so they'll just take over those.
They'll file an appearance, then they'll get all the notices.
Okay.
It'll be seamless.
Okay, right. Good to know. All right. Tim.
Last week, we met with the RPA eight regarding our traffic studies. We're joint, working with the city of DeWitt and the city of Manchester. Our impact we're looking at is on Highway 13 North Franklin Street with Honey Creek Drive, Crescent Drive, and Lunzo Drive, and planning for the future on how to fix the intersection up there. So we interviewed 3 firms. We had 6 firms submit applications or requests for proposals or qualifications. We interviewed 3 of them. Kirk and Michael was selected as the engineering firm that was working on that. So Anthony Barjett will be part of that firm that will continue to look at that North Franklin area and how to solve some of the challenges we have with that Y intersection with the T intersection right there. So the conflicts we have in that location along with the elevation changes. So that's coming up.
And that's being done through ECIA, right?
ECIA, Chandra Ravada is taking the lead on that, and that's covered by our planning dollars through that group there. Which is a great movement for us. We talked about the comp plan that's going on. One of the things I want to talk about is selecting the next city manager and the process you want to use to do that. What I would propose is we meet next Monday, which would be December 1st. Instead of having a committee of the whole meeting, we just have a council work session and talk about the different options that we can look at. Whether you want to use a search firm, put together a request for proposals for search firms. If you want to do it some other method or manner, let's have a conversation about how that process looks and get things moving. Because if you hire a search firm, typically they'll come in, they'll talk to the council, talk to staff, talk to some of the boards and commissions about what they want in the next city manager. They'll draft a community profile, talk about the different projects that are ongoing, what they want for skills and activities for the city manager. Send that out, start looking nationwide as to what they're looking for. That typically takes about 4 to 5 weeks to get that out. After that, you could be looking at doing interviews then as early as middle or the end of February. And then having someone hopefully then starting 60 days later. So that would be 1st May.
Can we go back and say no to 6 months? That's right in the middle of budget season that we're hiring a new city manager.
So we're gonna be depending a
Yeah.
lot on Ms. Aaron here for us, and she's gonna need all of our support during all of this, so.
Is the work session okay for next Monday then?
Yeah.
So.
I have a question about the Wessel's case. Did we have enough insurance? I know we talked about it.
Sure.
I thought we did, but
Yeah,
we're asking.
we're covered by our insurance company on that case. I am disappointed in the Supreme Court ruling. I don't necessarily agree with it. I kind of understand where they came from on it. But the reality is we're talking about something where the police officers make a split second decision and we're all armchair quarterbacking it. Now, there's a lot of scenarios where things could have come differently. And because there wasn't a video recording of what was going on, the system we had didn't work the way everybody thinks it just auto on. That's what the new stuff does. You know, so that's a little bit of, well, we gotta keep up with our technology, we gotta keep up with, but that would have helped prove what we're talking about. But yeah, it's unfortunate. Worked with Jim Hotjob before he left to change the policy. Ben has instilled that with the staff on our chase policy, what we're doing. But yeah, unfortunately, insurance is covering, take care of it, but.
I just had a really good discussion with a couple guys that said, yeah, Jim was at fault, he should have backed off, but then I also opposed the question, if Jim backed off and in his state, he crashes into a minivan and kills 6 people. Now,
It could go both ways.
It could go both ways.
There's a huge variable there, and again, somebody crossing the street, then would we be getting sued for failure to act or failure to perform,
Exactly.
a ton of other things, so, again, like Tim said,
Double-edged sword.
we face it every day, a lot of times short-sighted decisions, and we just own those decisions and hope it was the right one.
Right.
Anything else for, questions for Tim? Thank you, Tim. Aaron?
I don't have anything at this point.
Okay. All right. Brian?
No.
Linda?
Nope.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Ben.
Oh, I missed Ben. Oh, I'm not used to doing that in between there. Thank you so much. Ben, you made the news today.
I did not, my officers.
Well, your officers did, but yeah,
Yeah,
you want
so-
to talk about that?
Everything is in the release. I would just ask the council, reach out to my officers, and tell them that it's good work by them. This is, I'm gonna steal one from FBI Director Kash Patel and saying this is what happens when you let good cops be cops. I knew what was going on, right? I agreed to you guys earlier that we had an operation going on. Granted, I wanted it to continue a little bit longer without being out there, but either way, it was inherently successful. Again, even though I was privy with all of the takedowns, all of the information coming in, I mean, really it was the officers that put that stuff together, right? I mean, you're taking down these guys with 4 or 5 officers that are coming in, no questions asked in 30 minutes, and it goes off. No issues whatsoever, nobody gets hurt. Things like that are nice to have around here, so.
Excuse me, Chief, could you kind of, and for people who did not hear today, can you kind of summarize what you shared
Yeah.
today?
So since I got here, I think I've talked a few times in council meetings about, especially with like our library director and some of our department meetings about the importance of technology these days with our youth. We sent an officer off, basically on a whim, to be honest with you, about, he was very interested in a lot of these forensic investigations, right? Came back with a slew of knowledge that I am too old to understand, and that's what he wanted to do. And so we gave him the tools to do it. What he did is created fake profiles on both well-known social media applications in the dark web, targeting people that were coming after juvenile boys. Inherently successful again from day one. Our first takedown was actually the end of the conclusion of the class. So the class that he goes to for 3 days teaches them all the ins and outs of, the legality of it, how you can talk to perpetrators and suspects, how to maintain the evidence, everything from A to Z when it comes to one of those cases. And he was so into it that literally at the end of the course, our first takedown was the day that he graduated the course. And so, after having discussions with him about the amount of it, I made the decision with the administrative team to isolate some resources towards it, time, energy, overtime, things of that nature. And we named it Operation Castle, called it Operation Castle because we want to put some walls around Manchester when it comes to this. So this is our castle and we're going to protect it, especially our youth. And so at the conclusion of that, we had 4 arrests in the total. We give another 4 cases to other agencies, right? So anyone that wanted to meet a juvenile, we did facilitate a takedown. We did it at a location, again, away from the public, minimizing any sort of variables or incidences as much as we could. And then those 4 other cases, we had enough evidence that we could pursue charges, but in order to extend the olive branch and maybe so the education about these types of cases, we handed those to other jurisdictions with a big bow and said, your work is done. You can file charges tomorrow on this if you want. There's tons of other agencies in the state of Iowa that are doing the same thing. It is a real problem. So, for those that are listening, December 3rd at West Delaware High School, the auditorium, the officer and myself are putting on a presentation that we're hoping to be able to teach in schools in the future. Between West Delaware and us, we determined that it would be best if the parents of the students first came and saw kind of what we want to talk about. So they're not blindsided if a child comes home and starts talking about it. They have the ability to kind of tailor what that's going to look like when we offer it to the students. So it'll be a good opportunity to learn about these cases, any hypotheticals, and have kind of an open dialogue with the officer that's doing these cases, and we'll kind of go from there. Any other questions for me?
No, just. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Okay, Brian, you said nothing. Linda? Nothing. Okay, Mary Ann? Nothing. Joe?
Well, kind of stole the thunder. I was just gonna kind of, let all the officers here in town know, like, congrats that the sheriff's department was a part of it like this. I love it. I'm all about it. So, I couldn't stop talking about it at work today. I was all excited, showing all kinds of coworkers, like, look at this guy. And then the police department getting these guys, and yeah, so And then the other thing I just wanted to bring up was, I'm still showing a lot of interest in being able to figure out some way somehow to find some lights for that dog park. I went to work this morning, as chilly as it was, I don't know why people do that stuff.
The minutes from the Park and Rec, Park and Rec, I believe.
Dog park.
Dog park committees.
Dog park, is that what it was? It was in something that we saw, and Doug is looking at it, so.
I'll go back through and see if maybe I overlooked something, but thank you.
Yeah, it's in there someplace, I don't remember.
And that's it.
Okay, all right, thank you, Jim. Bill?
Jim would know, one of the last fellow things, can we have him cloned and how long would that?
Yes, we can. Tom Brady cloned his dog.
That's what I just saw.
And his dog had been dead for over 2 years before.
Bingo. We'd have to wait 2 years to
No, the
get
dog's name was Rufus.
that big.
When you got money, you can do whatever you want.
Well, we don't. Well, we could ask the high school students to do it for us or something, so. No, I got nothing there, thank you.
Thank you. The only thing I had is, will we have a council meeting that week of Christmas or not?
That's up to the council. Historically, we have skipped it. If we can skip it, because we're gonna have basically, you're gonna have every Monday night after the first of the year, dealing with council meetings or budget work sessions.
Mhm.
So kind of give yourself a little bit of a break, give staff a little bit of a break and go hard.
I'd say at this point, maybe we can put on the next agenda, and that way we'll know a little bit better what we might have coming on.
Okay,
You know, if there is something we need to take action on.
Something came up that we
Yeah.
had to do.
right.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I mean, we come in, we do the first one talking about replacing you and that kind of stuff, but then the other ones are for the rest of the month. Like if we don't have anything that's pressing,
Well, we'll still have the first
Yeah.
meeting.
right,
December 1st, we'll do the special work session. December 8th will be the regular.
right. And I mean, like after that one, I don't know.
Right. I know we've done it some years and we haven't. It just kind of depended. So I didn't know if there's any thought since it was getting so close. Okay. All right. With that, I just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and, thank everybody and hopefully you have more blessings in the coming years. So, with that, I'll take a motion from Brian, a second from Linda that we are adjourned and we are adjourned. Have a great